thanks for joining me again on part 2 of repairing a Sony TC-730. As you can see, I've got the head cover on, and this is after quite a bit of work, and overall it's working quite a bit better. If you recall from last time, I was having an issue where the audio would randomly cut in and out. Well, as it turns out, there is a muting circuit that is supposed to mute the audio when you change directions. And then up here is the circuit that is driving it. At first I thought it was this cap, which I replaced that. And that seemed to solve it briefly. And then it persisted, which I found out this transistor had failed, or was beginning to fail. And then after or during fixing that, then one of the transistors in my oscillator failed. And it took out a resistor feeding power to the oscillator. So now after replacing all those, it's in a much better state. After some research and testing, I decided to go after these rail switches. So here's one I'm working on now. This one engages the record function. These are a bunch of double throw switches all in a line with either 6 or 8 poles to them. Although I was apprehensive at first, it turned out they were not that difficult to remove. All except for one which had some wiring going over it. It made it a little difficult to get it out. But otherwise, once I desoldered them, they pretty much just fell out of place. Alright, at this point I will spare you from watching any more desoldering because it's boring. But hey, there you go. Look at that. The thing just came right out. Now we can take a little closer look. Now to get to the internals, I have to bend back all these individual tines on each side so I can pull out the internals and get to the contacts. It took a little while, but luckily this metal was flexible and nothing broke off. But it does take some time and patience. Here's a little more of an up-close view so you can see what I'm doing. See all those little things? I gotta bend those back. Alright, moving on. Alright, finally got the thing apart. You gotta be very careful with this because all these contacts are fairly loose inside there. And you have to be very careful because those are like leaf springs in a switch. And if they get unsprung, you're never going to get them sprung again. So here I am gently removing each one, making sure not to lose anything. Here you can see the other side of the switch. Each one of those contacts sits inside its individual little channel here. Here's a look at the contacts connected to the pins, and you can see how much dirt and corrosion has collected over the years. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and clean these up with some isopropyl alcohol. Now, as you can see, there's still some deeper pits where the contacts make. So I've grabbed a block and some 600 grit sandpaper so I can burnish those contacts a little further. Pretty simple, just work it like this along the edge, and now we should end up with some nice clean contacts. Right, now after going through that, I'll go ahead and clean them again with some isopropyl, make sure we got everything off of there and it's in much better shape than it was before. Now next up, I want to clean the contacts that actually make the connections. So I've decided to soak a piece of paper in some deoxit so I could run each contact through the sheet of paper. Overall, this worked out really well, and out of about 5 of these, I still ended up with one that did despring on me, unfortunately. It was a bit difficult getting all this on camera, but here's a quick example of what I was doing. So you can see the contact is on the sheet of paper, and I'm just running it along and cleaning off all that dirt from the inside. Now, to spare the faint of heart, I have skipped past putting the switch back together. It wasn't too difficult. Probably the hardest part was getting all the contacts to slip into their individual channels and then holding the thing together while pressing a couple of those tines together. After that, all I have to do is check continuity and make sure I hadn't missed anything. And it looks like this was a success.